Hi friends, Mindy here. I am going to share with you today the culmination of my 100-day project. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that I had intended this 100-day project to be a way for me to use up some of my scraps, and I had set a time limit for working only 15 minutes a day. I also started my 100-day project a little bit after the community started theirs, just simply because I was out of town. And so while mine took me a little bit longer than 100 days because of travel and those kinds of things, I actually completed it. This is the first time in several years that I've actually been able to do all 100 days of my 100-day project. So I'm going to start off, I'm just going to kind of go through and show you what I created and talk to you about some of the things that I learned and some takeaways that I have from doing this project. So first, I'm going to start off with all of the things that I did not get complete. So when I started my 100-day project, I was spending 15 minutes a day using my scraps and creating. At the time, I was creating substrates so that I could work on things later. And this is kind of brings me to the first thing that I learned, which was that it's okay to pivot. So I ended up with 51 unfinished pieces. I have some things that I was going to use for some belly bands and some tags. You can see I created a bunch of these little pockets, which I will go back and fill and decorate later. I actually have a plan for these black and white ones. And then I have just some bigger ones. You can kind of see more how the pocket works. So there's a pocket here and a pocket there, and you can clip these in or not. And then I just have some other things that I started that just really, pockets and things that never got filled or never got finished. And that is okay. When I started my 100-day project, I had every intention of just kind of doing this with scraps all the way through. And then about halfway through, I realized that was going to give me way too many substrates and I needed to do something with them. So I began to do some decorating. So I'm just going to kind of take you through some of the things that I made. So the first thing, I have numerous tabs and tags that I created. So, or like labels. I used a punch and I just used some book papers and different scraps that I had and punched out a bunch of these little labels that I can use to decorate some of my pages. I'm just storing them in this little CD thing. And then I also did the same thing with some tabs with some of the scraps, and you can just add these to the side of a page or to a journaling card or, whatever. I actually did use some of these in the decorating of some of my pieces that are finished. And so I'll just have these to use and pull from as I'm working through, so that I didn't bother to count all of those, but there are a ton of them. And then I created a few clusters as just little like embellishments. One day I just was feeling like I wanted to do that. And so I have a few of these. I think I ended up with like 4 little clusters that can go on the top of, on the front of a page. I'm sorry if you can hear my son. He is gaming right now. And then I have some snippet rolls. So these can work. You can just cut little sections of them or different things. So I just did some stitching on that. And then I created one really long one here. And you can just, pull out sections. They work great for little focal points or different kinds of things. So those were kind of the odd things that I created just on whatever day that felt right to do. And so just a few of those. And then I have these book page tag pockets that I created. So it's shaped as a tag made out of book paper. And then there's a little pocket here that you can actually store things. So I have, over the course of the 100 days, I made 6 of these. So I'll just kind of show you what those look like. You can clip them in or glue them in. And one of the things that another point that was really helpful to me was the concept of being able to just set a time limit. So I set 15 minutes a day for me. And so whatever got finished in that day was what got finished. And so it just helped to not have a full, feeling like I had to do, a full project every single day. That would have just been too much for me. So the next thing I want to share are these little flip out pockets that I created. These will attach to the side of a journal and flip out one way or the other, and then they have a little pocket. So I created 11 of these over the course of this project. And another thing that I realized is that you just don't have to complete a full project every single day. And it's okay to have a plan, but also remember, the first thing is it's okay to pivot. Sometimes you have to change that plan. That's what I had to do when I started realizing how many substrates I was going to have. I just was going to have too many, and I needed to start decorating them and using up some of my scraps in order to do that. And so that is what I did. You'll see these will just kind of flip out and just be pockets. They'll just attach to the side of pages. And some of them I decorated, some of them I kind of left still needing decoration so that I can, you know, more customize those to the journals that I'm going to be creating. So another concept that I learned is like that it's okay to have a plan, but have a backup plan. So I had to have a plan for days that I was going to be out of town. There's no way for me to create for some of those times that I was traveling. And so I had to either make up those days, which is where that 15-minute time limit really, really helped. And you would think that 15 minutes is not going to be a lot over time, but as you'll see, I created a ton of things in this time limit. And keep in mind that the first half of this was just creating the bases, and then the last half of it, which is actually the part that took a little bit longer, was decorating them. So on average, I would get maybe 3 or 4 pieces decorated in that 15-minute time frame, and that was really kind of hustling. So the next thing that I created were some ephemera holders. I ended up with 14 of these, and so these are basically just pockets where I can add some ephemera. When I send out journals and things, I like to add in little extras for the person that has purchased. That actually goes there. So does that has purchased my journals, and so just so that they can have things to kind of decorate with. And so I created some of these. This is just one that's done out of book page, and then there's a little pocket here. I can still add some more things. Here's another one. These were just made with some 6x6 paper that I had, and I don't know why I put that there. Again, just to hold different things. I can tuck, you know, whatever little pieces that will match the journals in here. And they're just a couple different pockets on the front and on the back. And so these were a lot of fun to make. And this will just give, you know, just really with the intention of having things for my stash that will make like filling up a journal and that kind of stuff just go a little bit easier. You can see I tucked in some Tim Holtz journaling cards. Those really tall ones fit perfect in these book pages. And so that's what all of these are. So another thing that I learned during this whole process is that the more that you create, it actually sort of helps you be more creative. So at first it was when I was trying to decorate, you know, a few things in 15 minutes, I felt really overwhelmed by that. But as I got going, I knew I had 15 minutes, and I just learned to work a little bit more efficiently. So this next section is some belly bands or like side tucks, and I have 13 of these. So some of these I left really, really long because depending on the size of the journal, I just kind of put the decoration in the middle so that depending on the size of the journal or whatever, or the page that I'm putting it on, I can trim this down and make it just more customized to the journal that I'm creating. So that's kind of why some of these seem very long. I will end up, you know, trimming some of those down. But again, there are 13 of these. So I just found that as I was creating, the more that I created, the easier it was to kind of just, I knew I had 15 minutes, so I could just kind of dive in and get started. And it just, just helped to be more efficient. So this is what that belly band will look like. I had this one piece that I wanted to just include with this particular belly band because I think it's going to look really beautiful together. So I actually just have these clipped together. So this is actually the belly band and the journal. I did not count that separate, but that's the 13 side tucks or belly bands there. And then I had 16 journaling cards that I created. And so some of these are white on the back, some of them are coffee dyed. If I want to change it, I can always add some coffee dyed paper to the back. This one will tuck in like that. And then I also felt like it was a really important lesson kind of to learn to just give yourself grace. There were days where we were traveling. There was actually some days where I was sick and I just couldn't do it. And so I ended up having to try to make up those days. And some days, that meant I was doing 2 days worth of, 100-day project. And so that was, again, where that time limit just really, really helped me. And then there were other days where, I just wasn't able to do that. And so it ended up being that my 100-day project took 120 days. I didn't actually count it on the calendar, but I was just committing to something and sticking to it for this whole time. That was really something that was important to me to be able to do, because like I said, I've tried to do the 100-day project multiple years, and I get to about, 30 days in and it becomes a lot. And so that's kind of always where I would get to 30 or 50 days kind of, and just kind of be overwhelmed, especially with all of the other projects. So again, having that time limit was just really, really helpful. So the next big section of things were the pockets. So I created 59 pockets during this project, and these are decorated projects or decorated pockets ready to go into journals. And I am so excited about this. That was really my intention. I even did some so that they could be like side pockets, but that was really my intention with using up all of these scraps, is just to be able to get some of these things into journals easily when I'm ready to create, having them already decorated and ready to go. Let me set these down because I'm about to drop them. It just made it a lot easier. And so that's another thing that I kind of learned doing this project, is the more that you define what you want your project to be from the beginning, the easier it actually is to accomplish it. So still keeping in mind that you may have to pivot, you may have to change some things. Like I did, I realized really quickly I needed to start decorating these pieces, because I was able to actually crank out these substrates way faster than I thought I was able to do. And so that just meant that I was going to have a lot more to decorate, and I didn't want to have to get to the end of all of that and just have, you know, a ton of substrates and nothing actually to feel like I had accomplished something. So having all of these finished pieces just really made me feel like this was time that I had spent that was really well spent, because I ended up with, you know, here I have 59 pockets that are just going to go into journals. And another thing that I learned as I was decorating is I would kind of go through all the substrates that I had already created, and I would kind of stick to a color scheme for that day. It just made it easier in terms of like having out certain ephemera. I also had certain pieces of ephemera that I had purchased specifically for creating ephemera. So I had some Tim Holtz things. I had some paper pieces from Hobby Lobby. I had some other ephemera pieces, and so what I would do is kind of just like this day, I was really going to focus on using my Tim Holtz, you know, pieces. And the next day I may have used the Hobby Lobby ones, and just trying to stay within a certain color scheme. And that actually really helped like to organize my time when I was actually in the process of creating. And to kind of stick with color schemes. So if I'm sure as you're seeing me flipping through here, you're seeing a lot of like greens and blues and yellows, and just kind of in those certain color families, it just made the process a lot faster. And it also made it so that I was making sure that I was using up all of those scraps, or a piece could go from this section. Maybe there were times where I would cut something off of here and it would end up, you know, as a focal point on something else. So being able to kind of do that was just really helpful, and focus on progress over like anything else. A little bit of progress, that's the other thing. Like 15 minutes didn't feel like you were going to get a lot done in that time, but over the course of 100 days, I ended up with a ton of stuff, like I said. So the last thing that I did are some tags, and I have 60 tags that I created. And some of these, again, are going to be, you know, that you can just journal on the back. So some of them are white, and some are, this is actually just a tag that I added some paper on. Some of them are patterned on the back. If I need to, I'll go back through. This is actually like lined, so it will be a perfect little journaling spot. And this was, you can see I was using packaging and things, because again, I was using my scraps. And so I will come back and add some coffee dyed paper. So there may not be like 100% finished, but they're enough that I feel like I can say that they're done. So again, I ended up with 60 of these, and that was actually totally by coincidence. So I have 59 pockets and I have 60 tags. I just kind of thought that was really funny. But this is where you could, you know, I have like some Tim Holtz products out. And so, and some days I would be like, I would kind of just pull out the things that I was inspired to create that day. So if I was really wanting to make tags, then I pulled out a bunch of tags, or and just tried to set out, you know, 5 or 6 things that I was going to work on for that particular day. And, you know, I did as many as I could, obviously. So some days that was 3. It just kind of depended on, you know. And then another thing is if I reached for something and I was just coming up against it and I was struggling, I just put it aside and moved on. I didn't like hang onto it, which is what I tend to do when I'm working just with freeform, which is again why that setting that time limit was just so helpful for me, because I knew I had to keep moving and I wanted to have something that I could show that I did every single day. And so I just kept moving. If it wasn't working, I just put it to the side and I left it for another day. And so, and then the next day I may come back to it and have an idea and it would come together just fine. So that concept kind of worked really well, just trying to remember, because otherwise you can get lost in the weeds of like searching through all of your ephemera and searching through for this perfect piece of whatever. And then your 15 minutes by that time is over. These tags are just really tall, skinny ones. And then I added some paper on the back so that they could be written on. So that's what those are. And then this is almost to the end here. So again, I have 60 tags to create with. So as you can see, I have a ton. Even though I had 51 unfinished pieces, I ended up with 188 completed pieces that are ready to go in my journals. And I just feel so excited about the fact that first of all, that I actually finished the 100-day project. I'm just really proud of myself for doing that, because like I said, I've dropped the ball on that multiple times. But I'm just so excited because I now have all of these 188 pieces that are ready to go into a journal. There may be a little area where I want to add, like on this one, just since it's here, I may want to add a word or something, but I can still customize this for the journal that I want to put it in, and it's just ready to go. And so I am really excited about how all of that came together. And I will link the playlist of my 100-day project videos down below. I did do a couple process videos along the way, just creating some ephemera, and I'll link that down below. But I just wanted to share this with you. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried a 100-day project. Maybe if that seems too overwhelming, try 30 days. Try setting yourself just a few parameters and work within those and try and do something every day. For me, being creative, sitting at my craft desk and doing something is just really good for my mental health. I just feel better when I am creating every day, whether that's a little tag or just, a Bible journaling page or whatever. I just really love to be able to just sit down and create every single day. So maybe you can't commit to 100 days, maybe try 30 and see what you can do, see what you can accomplish. You might be surprised, especially within a certain time limit. So if you made it this far in this video, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.